Hi, my name is Ken Bella. I'm responsible for the scanning software in the scanning division. And today I'm going to be talking to you about our SDKs and how they can help you unlock business. So our software has the ability to increase your return on investment by offering you new functionality while reducing your total cost of ownership. Now, I know that sounds kind of odd. How are you giving me more stuff but charging me less? But that's what I'm going to show you today. So we'll be talking about a couple different operating systems. We'll be talking about Windows, Linux, Android, Chrome, iOS, and the 4690. So the first thing to think about is, where are you on the adoption curve when it comes to software? Now, what you're looking at is a standard technology adoption curve. It applies to everything, whether it's when did you get an iPhone, when did you get an Android tablet, what have you. But in this case, we're talking about software. So if we look at this curve, if you're in the retail space, you've probably heard of OPAWS and JPAWS. They're over here. They've been around for forever. Everyone's adopted them. If you think about remote management, let's say the ability to upgrade the firmware on your scanners, put settings on it, configuration, you might think it's over here, but if you're looking at thousands of units, it's probably in this space right here. It's been around for a while, and quite a few people are using it. Now, we also have some new capabilities for real-time alerts. That's right over here. It's probably in the early adopter phase. We've got a couple people that have started to use it. So the question is, after I go through all these different kinds of tools with you, where are you on this curve? And is there a value in you starting to adopt stuff to help you get more revenue? So we're going to start with the Windows space. And when we talk about Windows, it's the most prevalent operating system out there. Then comes Linux and then other ones. So there's two kinds of things that we offer you. There's device setup, which we have a tool called OneTwoThree Scan that I'm going to cover. And there's enterprise scanning solutions. So that's barcode data transmission, remote management, event logging, and even the ability to write a custom app. Now, many of these are off-the-shelf drop-in modules. And that's how you're going to get that total cost of ownership down. You don't have to write an app. All you do is configure an XML file to enable the app after you load the code. So all of these tools are based on this in Windows, are based on the modular solution architecture. And what that means is we have drop-in modules that let you do things without developing solutions. You don't have to write an app. So whether it's barcode data or remote management or event logging, those are the three most commonly used modules. We have a module for you, and it's part of our ecosystem. So what's nice about our ecosystem is these software tools are made to enable you to do almost anything and everything you want to do without having to write your own app. So when we talk about Windows, there's OneTwoThree Scan, which I'll give you a demo on for scanner configuration. There's OPAWS and JPAWS drivers, which are bundled with our SDK. And all the stuff in blue is part of the modular solution architecture. It's part of the modules. There's remote management tools, whether it's SMS, WMI, or PowerShell, logging, so you can get real-time events through the logging agent, a scanner update utility, which is the ability to upgrade firmware locally. Let's say in a retail, warehouse, hospital, without having a very technology savvy person there. It's a really simple tool. There's a cordless scan to connect utility, and that utility allows you to pair your Bluetooth scanner directly to your Windows computer through the Bluetooth capabilities of the Windows computer. But we put a pairing barcode up that you scan it, and it takes care of all the pairing for you. It's like magic. There's USB-C drivers. There's a Windows SDK. So those are the kinds of tools that we offer you in the Windows space. So let's start with OneTwoThree Scan. So I'm going to give you a demo, and this tool is your single-stop tool for all scanner configuration. Anything you want to do with your scanner can be done, and done easily through this tool. So when you launch OneTwoThree Scan, you come to the start screen. And basically, it's got all the capability you need on this single tab. If you click over here, there's an overview of 123 Scan. If you want how-to videos, it's all the stuff I'm showing you right now. You could click on this link and it'll take you to the how-to videos. So all of a sudden you can get an overview of what is 123 Scan, how do you create an SMS file, how do you create a configuration file. All of that is covered here. And the recent files that you've created are shown here. So let's create a configuration file. So if your scanner is not connected, you can pick from all these scanners here. So let's say I've got a DS8108, and there's a standard range model, a driver's license model for the US market, a healthcare model, there's release notes, model configurations. So we're going to pick this one here. So let's say that we're looking at a hospital, and let's say the hospital's name is XYZ. XYZ. You could put a name on the config file. You can say, what communication protocol do you want to use? Most hospitals use keyboard wedge. So we're going to say HID keyboard wedge. You can enable, disable symbologies. So let's say you say, good, code bar is turned off. What about code 39? Oh, I don't scan any code 39. I want to disable this. And then if you get confused, you have the ability down here. You could write in code 39, and you can go back to the parameter you just turned off very easily without having to know where it is in this wizard. So there's what we just turned off. And you might notice an up arrow. The up arrow indicates you turned it off. So that's factory default. Now that's off. If I want to put an enter key, which is the enter and the tab key are like 80% of the kinds of data formatting people use. Or you could write a much more complicated rule here with ADF if you want. So you can do more advanced things. And there's how-to videos, if you click right here, that can show you how to write an ADF rule. Now, one of the things you might notice is the tool is pretty easy to use. That's intentional. If you touch this tool once every couple of years, we don't want you to go through all kinds of craziness to figure out how to use it. We want to make it easy on you. So let's say you're done configuring now. So you have the option to save this file to your computer. You can print a barcode that has all the settings in it. So this barcode, single barcode, could have 200 settings in it if you wanted, if that's how many things you programmed. You can load this config file to a scanner. I happen to have one connected, so let's do that. And as you see, it loads pretty quick. In a couple seconds, I electronically loaded a configuration file to my scanner. I can email a barcode, this programming barcode, to a cell phone. I can email the config file that I created to someone, or I can print a parameter report. So there's the email that got opened up, my email client, and it appended the config file, or I'm sorry, the programming barcode right here. You can also look at this report, which tells you what did you change. And we only changed one setting. So over here in the report, you could say, show me all parameters. And this is, whoops, that's the one. Show me all parameters. And this is multiple pages of parameters. Well, it's supposed to, but it seems that when you do a demo, the things never work right, exactly. So now that we've created this config file, we loaded it to a scanner, you could also update the scanner's firmware. So I could take it from release, this one right here, which is actually a beta release that I'm playing with, to a standard release. And over here are the release notes. All you have to do is hit update firmware and it would do that. You can also go to the data view, which lets me scan barcode data and have it show up inside the utility. So let's say I wanted to see HID keyboard data. it would show you your barcode data that you scanned. So I kind of walked you through 123 scan. There's the generation of an SMS package, that's for remote management. I'm going to walk you through that in a couple minutes. And there's something called mass upgrade mode. So I showed you how to upgrade one device at a time, but we also have another ability. Let's say that you're staging 50 scanners. You have a screen in here called the Discovered Scanners screen that lets you upgrade a multiple number of units at once, and up to 10 scanners can be configured at once using a powered USB hub. So on that screen, you hit mass upgrade mode and you'd go right to it. So let me show you how you'd get to it. So you go under Actions, which is my power user screen, View USB Scanners. And if I hit this mass upgrade mode, I could stage a whole bunch of devices, 10 at a time. And they all have to be the same configuration, but you could keep staging them one after the other. So after this thing got its upgrade, it would blink a LED color over here. You could unplug it and plug another device in with that USB cable, and it would just keep upgrading units one after the other. So we talked about SMS also. So there's 3 different modules in the Windows area for remote management. The SMS is the most prevalent one. I'd say about 90% of our users use it. And what's really nice is it's simple. You can generate a configuration package, load that package with your tools onto your host computer. If you're retail, if it's, let's say, a Windows computer, or it could be a Cow or Wow if you're a hospital. And then you invoke it with a command from your management console. So we're going to go over and create this package in 123 Scan. And the reason SMS is so widely adopted and so liked is when you see the experience of creating the package, it's really easy. And then deploying it, you use your own tools. Most customers, let's say about 99.9% of them use Microsoft's SCCM these days. So you would use your tools to push the package you generated here to the download folder created by the SMS when you install it. Then you'd send a command from the SCCM console to invoke this package consumption. It's that simple. So when we want to create a package, what we do is we go under Actions, Create SMS Package. We're going to title it XYZ bedside. You come over here and you pick an image of your scanner. So we're looking at we created a config file for the DS8108, and it was the healthcare model. You're going to let it pick a communication protocol. Snappy is the fastest, so I would just leave it at that. You can load parameters. And in case you didn't know what that was, you hit this button and it explains what's going on here. So we picked the DS8108 healthcare unit. But let's say that all of a sudden I selected a DS8178 config file. It tells you you can't load the configuration settings for an 8108 onto the 8108. An 8178 can't go onto this one. So in a sense, we're doing some checking for you to make sure you don't try to load the wrong thing. So there's the file I created. And now all the settings in that file are in this SMS package. It's that simple. If you want to update firmware, you click this and it'll lock you into the latest. But maybe you say, I approved this version, release 27. So now every time I load an SMS package, it locks me in on release 27, not 28, not 25. So even if a scanner ships to you with later firmware, it'll get this put on it. I can put up to 5 device groups into this SMS package. So let's say I also bought the CS6080, and it was also the healthcare model. I could go through and do all the settings for this second device group, the CS6080. Or I can get rid of it saying, you know what, I just need the one that I created for the DS8108. Then you have the option for logging of events. We create a circular buffer and log that event to it so you can keep track of what's going on. If you're good with the circular buffer and the default size you're set, if you want to change the default size to make it bigger or smaller, you can. Now, there's 2 options for how this device, how the SMS operates. I know it's a lot to look at right here, so don't worry, I'm going to walk you through it. But if you wanted to read it, you can copy it to your clipboard and save it to look at later. So you can either run as an application or run as a service. What we see is most people run as an application because they want to invoke it at a certain time. Let's say you're a warehouse. You're loading the SMS package. You want it, and you're shut down on 3rd shift. You're open 1st and 2nd shift. Maybe at 2 a.m., that's when you run it as an application and you get to invoke it. It doesn't just occur automatically. And basically, we're done. We're going to save this package to my computer here. And it has XYZ bedside and the date that it was created on it. You can print an SMS report, which tells you exactly what's in the package. So it says what are your settings for your log file, your activation trigger, what config file did you use? It's right there. And the deployment checklist helps you, easily implement this solution. So we created the package. It tells you where you're going to push the package to, and it tells you where to get the package from in OneTwoThree Scan and where to push it to in the download folder, and then what command to invoke. So this little 2-pager right here gives you everything you need. So when it's run as an application, there's the information on the command you want to invoke. And what we see is this SMS remote management solution is so easy. It's the one that everyone uses from us. Now, another module that we offer is called the logging agent. So the logging agent is relatively new, and it's got a lot of excitement, especially let's say you're a hospital. So you have a cordless scanner, the DS8178. It's connected to a cradle, which is connected to your cow. And let's say your cow is a Windows-based cow, or it could be Linux. We have a logging agent for both. But let's say it's Windows. When this goes out of range and gets misplaced, so think of it this way. There's a nurse in the bed, in the hospital bedroom, and she puts her scanner, or he puts his scanner on the bed. They walk away for a second. An orderly comes in, changes the sheets, puts this scanner inside all the sheets that got rolled up for the bed, throws it into some huge industrial cart with tons of linens in there. It's walking down the aisle, walking down the hallway, and all of a sudden it's out of range. We have a solution called virtual tether, which will set an alarm off on the device. But the device is buried under a bunch of sheets. Who's to say you're going to hear it, know what it is? The nurse is the one that probably would have known what the trigger, what the alarm sound looks like, but they're not in the room. Well, wouldn't it be cool if we could send a real-time alert showing that this is a certain distance away, a programmable distance, let's say it's 30 meters. An alert would be sent from the host's computer through the logging agent real-time to a console system. Splunk is one that's very heavily used in the industry. Splunk can then send a real-time text alert to your nurse manager's cell phone on that floor. They can be informed there's a scanner walking away within a minute of it occurring, less than a minute. That's the power of the logging agent. All of these tools are free tools available to you. You just configure an XML file to turn it on. And if you wanted to get into some more advanced capabilities, the SDK for Windows lets you do that. You can capture images, capture videos, scan barcodes, control the beeper, the aimer, the LED. Our core scanner driver, which is the foundation of our modular solution architecture, is part of this SDK. There's a WMI agent for remote management, OPOS, JPOS drivers, the logging agent. sample apps with source code. So all the things you want to do, you can do with this. So let me give you an example. So we're going to go to the sample app that comes with the SDK. So you saw OneTwoThree Scan, very easy to use. The sample app, or for the SDK, it's a developer app. It lets you do a ton of capability, but it's made for developers. So the first thing you do, and there's videos, those videos that I showed you earlier, there's one on using this. So you would hit Discover Scanners. There's my scanner right there. So it's in hidden keyboard, so you can't really get much information about it. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over to the Scanner Action tab, and we're going to change it to USB Snappy, which is a two-way protocol. Two ways meaning you can receive barcode data like you can in hidden keyboard, but that's a one-way protocol. Two ways because you can also send commands to it. So there's my scanner. There's the model scanner right there. There's the firmware version on the scanner. There's the serial number. So you can get a lot more information about it. So we're going to go over to this tab, the RSM tab, and we're going to get all values. These are, these are all the attributes on the device. Now I happen to know attribute ID 1 is UPC. So I'm going to get the value. So it says UPC 1, and I happen to know that value is true, so it's enabled. So I'm going to scan something here. And we go to the barcode tab over here, and there's the barcode data I scanned. It's just a UPC shown right there. Now I'm going to go back to this tab, and I'm going to change it from true to false. Then I'm going to set the value. Now I'm going to get the value, and it says false. So now when I go over to scan this thing, you'll see that there's no scanning going on because I just disabled UPC. Now I can come back over here and put in true. If I can spell it right. Now we're going to set that value, get the value, and now it's true. So UPC is turned on, and bingo, there it is. Now you might ask me, how do you get all those values I just showed you? So let me open up my developer report and show you how you could see what all these different values are, the attribute values I was just showing you. So we're launching OneTwoThree Scan. Create a new config file. My scanner's not connected. DS8108, healthcare unit, and the app developer report. When you click that, it opens up a report that tells you all the attribute numbers. So remember I said I happen to know UPCA is attribute 1. It's attribute 1, and there its values right there. So if you're a developer using the app developer report, you can get all the information you need about your scanner and all the settings. So now if we go to Linux, Linux also has an SDK. It does similar to things to what I just showed you for Windows. And there's a sample app to help you do that kind of stuff. There's a JPOS driver for generally retail when it comes to Linux. There's an SMS for remote management, and there's a logging agent. And like I said, all of these are part of the modular solution architecture, which works for both Windows and Linux, so you don't have to develop apps. You can leverage apps we've created already for you just by doing an XML file configuration to enable the app. When it comes to Android, we have an SDK for your app development. We have a cordless scan to connect utility, which I told you about earlier. So if you're on an Android phone, you can pair your cordless scanner straight to that phone or tablet with this pairing barcode that the scan to connect utility creates. And to kind of give you a feel for that, we have a scanner control app utility on the Google Play Store. So I'm going to go to that. So if you go to the Google Play Store and you put the Scanner Control app in, it'll pull up this app. There's a how-to video here that explains all the cool things the app can do. But remember how I said there's a scan to connect utility where you scan a pairing barcode and it pulls up, it allows you to pair to either the Windows computer or to your Android device, whether it's a tablet or a phone. That's the barcode, and it's incorporated in the Scan to Control app. So it's already there for you to see how it works. You can control the beeper, the LEDs, the trigger. You can scan barcode data. You can upgrade firmware of a scanner. You could even misplace your scanner and hit the Find Scanner button, and it will beep the scanner. It will make the LEDs go off, and if there's a vibration capability built in, it'll vibrate the scanner so you can find it. So the Scanner Control app is a great way for you to do stuff and get used to the Android SDK and what it's capable of doing. For iOS, we also have an SDK, and we also have a Scanner Control app that you can download from the App Store. And it allows you to control your Bluetooth scanner with your iOS device. You can't control a corded scanner with your iOS device. In Android, you can control a corded scanner, but in iOS, you cannot. And if you happen to be a 4690 shop, we also support native remote management. So you can use the tools built into the 4690 to upgrade the firmware, do configuration, get barcode data from the MP7000 to DS8108. And if you're playing around with Chrome, we have an SDK that also lets you build apps for the Chrome environment, straight from the browser or for a Chromebook or a Chromium device. And in terms of marketing materials, we have different websites that you can go to. So if you go to the first link I gave you, it will give you a list of all the different software that's available, stuff that I've covered. So if you want the OPOS driver, you can click on the OPOS driver, and we'll take you to a marketing site that tells you a bit about it and where to go to download it. If you wanted 123 Scan, all of the tools that I've shown you are available from this site. If you need information on your barcode scanner, you can go to this other site, the second link, this link right here for software downloads. And you can download 123 Scan. You get access to our drivers, USB CDC driver, 123 Scan, the scanner update utility. You can get the logging agent for Windows or Linux. You can get the SMS capabilities I was talking to about for Windows or Linux, Scan to Connect utility. And here are our SDKs. And maybe most importantly, the messages that I'm giving you, the easiest way to scale them is through videos. So I have a whole bunch. Here's a 1-minute overview of 123 Scan. Here's a more detailed walkthrough in 8 minutes of all the cool things 123 Scan can do, some of which I showed you. There's some more built into that video. How to create a config file, how to write an ADF rule, how to create a data formatting rule, a multi-code data formatting rule, how to write a data parsing rule for UDI scanning, label scanning, GS1 label scanning, or blood bag parsing. How you write an SDK app, the SMS 1-minute overview, how do you create an SMS package. So basically anything you want more information on, come to these videos. And with that, I conclude my presentation. If you have any questions, there's a number of ways you can get in touch with us to ask those questions. Feel free to use one of these links here to reach out. I appreciate you guys joining this webinar.